Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's had a wonderful day. I got some things I want to show you and talk to you about. And so I'm jumping from Chrome browser over to Edge, the Edge browser. We'll see how that works. But yep, it's been a beautiful day. Let me click a few buttons and make sure I'm live. I know I'm live, but I always do that and it just to give me the information that I need to know. I'm not seeing something that I want to see. Come on. Mm. All right. Like I said, I hope everybody had a wonderful day. It has been a beautiful day here in Ozark, Missouri. I had to let my body take a rest, and that's what I done. I rested today. Okay. I'm going to try to hold the microphone up to me so I can have a little bit better control of what I'm wanting to talk about. But what we're going to get off into is let me go to the other page real quick. We're going to be talking about the board meeting. And so, what I'm going to do is start off with the board meeting. I just come from the 7 o'clock meeting. It's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I'm going to make the screen big. It's not, the quality will get better after that, the processes. But while it's in this early stage, it's usually not 1080. But let's see how the audio will be. I'll start playing it. Thank you all for watching my channel. I just want to say that. Always remember to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed and leave comments. I can answer back in my funny kind of way. I love I love to see what you say or think, but a lot of people uh, don't leave comments. So, all right, let's play this so you can get a feel for what I said at the meeting. This is the Board of Aldermen meeting. It took place today, Thursday, the 22nd, the year's 2025. I'm bringing to their attention about the Burger King project. The foundation was poured, and then they took a 3 month hiatus, and then they poured the that they the building slab over the foundation.
Manner. We do have a scheduled guest tonight. We have Buddy Huggins, who requested to speak to the board. So, sir, you may come at this time.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? 1201 West Farmer Street, Ozark, Missouri. What I want to talk about is Burger King. I've been doing historical videographer and photography around this city for over 10 years. Been documenting construction projects for quite a while, even beyond that. So there's some questions about the day it was poured, and I would have been able to have talked to people. I would have convinced them not to order the concrete that day because that day was 43 degrees. If that would have been the case, it would have been perfect. But what happened is 4 days below 32, all the way down to 22 for 3 days, and then it came back up to like 28 the fourth day, and even the fifth day is questionable. The problem is they didn't put no blanket over the top of the foundation. Usually you put a blanket over the whole job site where the foot. I just want to say I can't cut up the audio from here, so feel free to cut your audio up on your end, and maybe I can fix it in post production. Sorry about that. My mouth is too not is too far away from the microphone, and the microphone should have been boosted as for my voice anyway. So, all right. because they did 100% on the footer, poured it, placed it, and no blankets. I was there every day and kept waiting on blankets, and they didn't come. So that's a call for attention. So I'm asking for transparency on this thing, because not only did they mess that, it was 3 months before they brought anything back in there. And then when they did that, they poured the slab so fast, it was unreal. And that slab is very important that it had proper testing done on it, because it's going on a bad foundation. What they did was they framed it in one day. They put rock over the top of everything, and they didn't do the water where they could actually tamp it down and get it to impervious, like, where it wouldn't penetrate through. It'd be hard as a rock. That didn't happen. And then when they did put the bisqueen down, they put chicken wire down. Chicken wire is 4x4, smaller than your finger. A job site like that needed number ones and number two rebar, which is big and hefty. And it would have been a foot on center, would have been okay for that. And then it needed to be on chairs. The chicken wire was laid flat on the ground. Guess what goes flat on the ground when the concrete hits it? No chicken wire in the middle of the slab to make it have hardening principles. So that is two things. This other part of the slab was they pulled the form off of it in 6 hours. That's horribly wrong. And there's a lot of scientific reasons and technical reasons. I got it all on buddyhuggins.com. You go there and you will pull up the page where all the technical information is. And then they saw cutted it right in front of me, dry. It takes 20 hours to do even a wet saw. You can do it depending on the humidity and temperature. You can do it sometimes in 12 hours, but you don't do it 7 hours. So they made a lot of technical errors. That's what I want to bring to y'all's attention. I'd like to request a sunshine of documentations. Because I asked questions to for lack of a better word to say, who was working the job site. They spoke Spanish. But I asked the people that could speak English about the cylinders, and was there any? There was none. And Danny Hall's president was nowhere around. And the other guy that is the code enforcer, nowhere around. They didn't answer my emails or nothing for months and months and months. So something's up. Thank y'all for looking at it, and let's be transparent. Whether I'm right or wrong, it don't matter. What matters is safety. Putting a building up like that, it's going to be huge. Oh, other thing is they got the material there, and it's not even covered up with plastic. It's raining on it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of material getting rained on. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I believe there is some merit to what he's saying. However, I believe Mr. Johnson or Mr. Smith may have some additional insight on that project, if I'm not mistaken.
In advance of this meeting, I did send out a communication to the Board of Aldermen, giving you a little bit of background. I would defer this to our planning director, Randall Whitman, if you request additional information. But the short version is that we are investigating some concerns that we have, and we're going to be asking for some additional information from a third-party inspector on the property and on the project. Randall, is there anything that you want to add? So there are matters that we're investigating.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Not seeing more. Okay. We'll move on then to we have 4 first readings. We'll go to the first one, which is bill number 3665.
All right, that last part showed me get up and walk and shake Mr. Randall Whitman's hand. He and I had a couple of conversations.
Your Honor.
And he's a real nice man. He answered my emails and answered my phone calls. Um, yeah, he's a decent person. Not that nobody else has got any problem. It's just that well, they may be bound by city ordinance and things not to, when there is a problem, not to send people emails, not to talk to people. That's okay. I, s- I just stated that nobody in those two names, nobody had contacted me. I tried to be as positive as I possibly could. We're dealing with pretty egregious set of circumstances that has to go and be addressed. I've seen so much in these projects over the last 10 to 14 years in here in Ozark, Missouri. If I was to stop and try to name them and talk about them, you would think I was the most negative person in the world, and I'm really not. I'm I'm for transparency. I'm for if you make a mistake, you correct it. And some of these subcontractors are getting away with murder. And that'll all come out as we talk about Greenbridge later on. I've got to get some more factual information, but Greenbridge was poured the same day that Burger King was poured. And now they've been shut down for maybe 2 months, coming up on 2 months. So they've got a technical problem with their concrete that was poured that same day. It's, yeah, it's very hard to use kerosene heaters under a bridge. Very hard. And blankets. I didn't mention the word kerosene heaters because theoretically these blankets are black and they've got a lot of insulation in them. They're almost a foot thick and they're really lightweight. And if you, it keeps the wind and it just keeps the temperature from getting too low. But not only did it need blankets, it needed kerosene heaters. I wish I'd have got that word in, but they're going to be listening to these videos and understanding that they got to do the research. Now that when I said buddyhuggins.com, this is the page I was referring to. And this has a lot of technical information. And I know we'll go through some of it, but maybe not all of it. This could end up being a short video tonight, but let's just jump in and see if we can get a bearing on what happened and how it happened. This is the timeline.
Timeline of the Burger King Foundation pour in Ozark, Missouri. The footer was poured on January 2nd, 2025, under freezing conditions with no protection, likely causing significant damage. Construction was delayed for over 3 months, from January 3rd to April 13th, 2025, possibly due to concerns about the footer's quality. On April 14th, 2025, the finished floor slab was poured, with forms removed within hours and saw cutting done the same day, further compromising the concrete. Despite concerns raised to Ozark officials, no testing or replacement was done, leaving the foundation's integrity in question. Video links // YouTube B/E11VU2 K file name 01/03-2025 Burger King Ozark, Missouri. This video is presented for historical documentation of construction challenges by Buddy Huggins, historical videographer and photographer. Revised analysis: Burger King Foundation pour in Ozark, Missouri. Updated timeline. Footer pour, January 2nd, 2025. The foundation footer for the Burger King was poured on January 2nd, 2025. Weather data confirms a high of 47 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 30 degrees Fahrenheit that night, with lows remaining below freezing, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, for the next 5 days, January 3rd to 7th. 27 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Fahrenheit, 17 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Fahrenheit. Highs on January 3rd, 41 degrees Fahrenheit, and January 4th, 35 degrees Fahrenheit, were above freezing, but January 5th to 7th had highs of 34 degrees Fahrenheit, 17 degrees Fahrenheit, and 27 degrees Fahrenheit, near or below freezing. No protective measures, e.g., blankets, were used, exposing the concrete to freezing conditions during its critical early curing phase. Delay, January 3rd to April 13th, 2025 construction was halted for over 3 months, from January 3rd to April 13th, 2025, before the finished floor slab was poured. The reason for this delay is unclear, but it could be related to concerns about the footer's quality, weather conditions, or project scheduling issues. Finished floor slab pour, April 14th, 2025. The finished floor slab for the entire Burger King was poured on April 14th, 2025. The forms were removed within hours, and the slab was saw cut with a dry saw on the same day, raising concerns about the concrete's integrity. Step 1. Assess the footer concrete, poured January 2nd, 2025. The footer is a critical structural element, and its exposure to freezing conditions without protection likely compromised its quality. Impact of freezing conditions. On January 2nd, the high of 47 degrees Fahrenheit was suitable for pouring, but the low of 30 degrees Fahrenheit that night required cold weather precautions per ACI 306R cold weather concreting, a standard referenced by the 2018 International Building Code, IBC, adopted by Ozark, Missouri, WebID 15. From January 3rd to January 7th, lows were consistently below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and highs on January 5th to 7th were near or below freezing. Without blankets or insulation, the concrete likely froze overnight on January 2nd and remained at risk of freezing damage for 5 days. ACI 306R requires concrete to be kept above 50 degrees Fahrenheit for the first 3 days and above 40 degrees Fahrenheit thereafter until it reaches 500 psi, typically 1 to 2 days at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. At 30 degrees Fahrenheit, hydration, the process that gives concrete strength, slows dramatically, and below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it stops, leading to microcracks and reduced strength. Odds of the footer concrete being good. Freezing within the first 24 hours can reduce compressive strength by 30 to 50% and cause long-term durability issues like cracking or spalling. The concrete likely didn't reach 500 psi before freezing, making permanent damage highly probable. The odds of the footer concrete being structurally sound are less than 20%. The lack of protection violates ACI 306R and the 2018 IBC, and the concrete is at high risk of microcracks, reduced strength, e.g. 1,500 to 2,000 psi instead of the required 3,000 to 4,000 psi, and future failure under load. Impact of the delay. The 3-month delay, January 3rd to April 13th, allowed the footer concrete to cure fully under ambient conditions, but this doesn't undo the initial freezing damage. Concrete that freezes early in its curing process suffers permanent structural defects, even if it later hardens. The delay may have been due to concerns about the footer's quality, but without testing and remediation, the damage remains. During this period, the footer was exposed to additional freeze-thaw cycles, e.g., January 18th to 20th had highs of 19 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 17 degrees Fahrenheit, and lows of 5 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Fahrenheit, which could have worsened any existing microcracks, especially since Ozark's winter climate includes frequent temperature fluctuations, WebID 0. Step 2. Assess the finished floor slab, poured April 14th, 2025. The finished floor slab was poured on April 14th, 2025, over the potentially compromised footer, with forms removed within hours and saw cutting done the same day using a dry saw. Weather conditions on April 14th, 2025. Ozark's average April temperatures range from 45 degrees Fahrenheit to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, WebID 0. On April 14th, 2025, let's estimate a high of 65 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 45 degrees Fahrenheit, based on typical spring weather. These conditions are favorable for concrete pouring and curing, as temperatures above 50 degrees Fahrenheit allow for normal hydration without cold weather precautions. Form removal within hours. Standard practice per ACI 318, referenced by the 2018 IBC, requires side forms to remain in place until the concrete reaches 500 to 1,000 psi, typically 12 to 48 hours for a standard mix at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or above. At 65 degrees Fahrenheit, a standard mix might reach 500 psi in 12 to 18 hours. Removing forms within hours, e.g., 2 to 4 hours, is far too early. The concrete likely hadn't reached 200 psi, making it prone to edge damage, cracking, or deformation. The odds of edge damage or microcracking are high, over 80%. Same-day saw cutting with a dry saw. Saw cutting should occur when the concrete can resist raveling but before it cracks from shrinkage, typically 4 to 12 hours after pouring at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or above. At 65 degrees Fahrenheit, this window might be 4 to 8 hours for a standard mix. Cutting within hours, e.g., 4 to 6 hours, risks raveling, especially with a dry saw, which generates heat and vibration that can stress immature concrete. The odds of raveling, microcracking, or weakened joints are 70 to 90%, depending on the exact timing and mix. Odds of the finished floor slab being good. Compromised footer. The slab was poured over a footer likely damaged by freezing, increasing the risk of settlement, cracking, or failure. A weak footer can cause differential settlement, leading to slab cracks over time. Poor construction practices, early form removal and same-day saw cutting likely caused edge damage and microcracks. While April's warmer temperatures, 65 degrees Fahrenheit per 45 degrees Fahrenheit, are better for curing than winter, the rushed practices still compromise the concrete's integrity. The odds of the slab being structurally sound are less than 40%. The combination of a defective footer and improper construction practices creates a high risk of cracking, edge damage, and long-term failure, especially under the load of a commercial building like a Burger King. Step 3. Implications of the delay, January 3rd to April 13th, 2025. Reason for the delay. The 3-month delay could indicate that the contractor or city officials recognized potential issues with the footer after the January 2nd pour. Freezing conditions may have prompted a pause to assess the concrete's quality, though no testing or remediation was ultimately done. Alternatively, the delay could be due to scheduling conflicts, funding issues, or other logistical factors unrelated to the concrete's condition. Missed opportunity for remediation. The delay provided ample time to test the footer concrete, e.g., via core sampling, ASTM C42, or petrographic analysis, ASTM C856, to confirm its strength and check for freeze-thaw damage. If the footer was found to be defective, e.g., strength below 75% of the specified 3,000 to 4,000 psi or microcracks present, it should have been removed and replaced before pouring the slab. Proceeding without testing was a critical oversight. Exposure during delay. From January to April, the footer was exposed to additional environmental stresses, including the severe cold spell from January 18th to 20th, highs 19 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 17 degrees Fahrenheit, lows 5 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Fahrenheit, and potential freeze-thaw cycles as temperatures fluctuated, e.g., highs of 62 degrees Fahrenheit on January 29th. This likely worsened any existing microcracks, further compromising the footer's integrity. Step 4. Prove the concrete's quality. You've expressed concerns to Ozark officials, but no testing or replacement was done. Here's how to verify the concrete's condition. Testing the footer. Core sampling, ASTM C42 test compressive strength, should be 3,000 to 4,000 psi. If it's below 75% of the specified value, e.g., 2,250 psi for 3,000 psi, the footer is defective. Petrographic analysis, ASTM C856 check for microcracks or disrupted hydration from freezing. Evidence of freeze-thaw damage confirms the footer is compromised. Testing the slab. Core sampling should confirm the slab's strength, likely 3,000 psi. Early form removal and saw cutting likely reduced strength, e.g., 2,000 psi, and introduced microcracks. Visual inspection of the slab's edges and joints may reveal damage from premature form removal and saw cutting, e.g., chipping, raveling. Expected results. The footer is likely damaged, strength below requirements, microcracks present, and the slab is at high risk of issues due to the footer's condition and poor construction practices. Step 5. Building code violations. Footer poor. The lack of cold weather protection violates ACI 306R and the 2018 IBC, which require maintaining 50 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 days and 40 degrees Fahrenheit thereafter during curing. Slab pour. Early form removal and same-day saw cutting violate ACI 318, which requires forms to remain in place until the concrete can support itself, 12 to 48 hours, and saw cutting to occur when the concrete resists raveling, 4 to 12 hours. Ozark's oversight. The city failed to enforce testing after your concerns, potentially violating the IBC's requirement to investigate suspected defective concrete, Web ID 15. Step 6. Conclusion. Footer concrete. The odds of the footer being structurally sound are less than 20%. Freezing conditions without protection likely caused significant damage, reducing strength and introducing microcracks. The 3-month delay didn't mitigate this damage and may have worsened it due to additional freeze-thaw cycles. Finished floor slab. The odds of the slab being good are less than 40%. Early form removal and same-day saw cutting in April, combined with a compromised footer, create a high risk of cracking, edge damage, and long-term failure. The delay, the 3-month delay, January 3rd to April 13th, 2025, suggests potential concerns about the footer's quality, but the failure to test and remediate during this period was a critical error. The truth of the timeline reveals a missed opportunity to address the footer's defects before proceeding with the slab pour on April 14th, 2025. Your concerns. You were correct to request testing. The concrete is likely bad and the contractor and city officials should have acted to verify its quality and replace it if necessary. Recommendations for your documentation. Demand testing. Insist that the contractor and Ozark Building Department, 417-581-5976, conduct core sampling and petrographic analysis on both the footer and slab. If the concrete doesn't meet strength or durability requirements, it should be removed and replaced. Highlight the timeline. Emphasize the delay from January 3rd to April 13th, 2025 in your videos and blog page. This gap suggests the contractor may have been aware of issues but failed to address them properly, underscoring the need for transparency and accountability. Document everything. Use your photos and videos to show the lack of protection for the footer, the exposure during the delay, and the rushed practices for the slab pour, early form removal, same-day saw cutting. This evidence supports your case for remediation. For your videos and blog page, you can use this revised analysis in your documentation to tell the full story of the Burger King project. Here's a suggested statement to accompany the timeline in your videos and blog. Timeline of the Burger King Foundation pour in Ozark, Missouri. The footer was poured on January 2nd, 2025, under freezing conditions with no protection, likely causing significant damage. Construction was delayed for over 3 months, from January 3rd to April 13th, 2025, possibly due to concerns about the footer's quality. On April 14th, 2025, the finished floor slab was poured, with forms removed within hours and saw cutting done the same day, further compromising the concrete. Despite concerns raised to Ozark officials, no testing or replacement was done, leaving the foundation's integrity in question. This revised analysis ensures the timeline is accurate and highlights the critical issues with the concrete, supporting your efforts to document the truth for historical purposes. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments. Buddy.
I'm gonna show you some of the pictures that I took that day. That's a dry saw. That is green concrete. They took the form off within 6 hours and started saw cutting it an hour after that. And that traveling trowel, I didn't see it on the slab. It's too clean. I believe that's the foreman. Look at the dust. This is the wood that I brought up to the board of aldermen that is not being protected. You can see on that side of that, it's a huge amount. I said it might have been $100,000. Very easily could with today's prices. But yeah, just out of good practice, if I had anything to do with making decisions, they would have to cover that up, make it where rain does not get on it. And that ought to be a part of the code, and it should be if it's not. Because who's going to suffer from it being warped and everything? It's not. It came there as true lumber, and then it's been there for months with raining on it. It's just a little pet peeve with me. Look how big of a bundle that is, and look how big of a bundle that is. That one is covered. Look, I can tell you this. In Houston, Texas, see the backside of this fence? It's as open as anything. You can walk right in. It's not hemmed up where you can't get in. In Houston, Texas, or New Orleans, that would be gone, board by board. And then they would actually maybe even take the fence down and bring a bobcat in there and offload it on a truck and drive off with the whole damn thing. Of course, there's cameras all over the place. The bank's right next to it, and the Chinese food and all. There's if they did it, or hopefully our officers would be able to arrest them with video evidence that they stole it. But that's the good thing. That's that's where I want to end with this. The good thing is Ozark, Missouri is a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, loving place to live. I could live anywhere in the world, and I mean that. I haven't been back to Jamaica since COVID. Everything changed 2020. I had done been going to Jamaica 6 times over a 10-year period. Didn't go every year, but I went every other year. And I stayed, sometimes I stayed, well, you can stay 3 months on your passport. I stayed one time, 3 months on the passport and had to go into Montego Bay and pay somebody $180 so they could look at my passport and tell me I could stay another 30 days. So I stayed 6 months one time. But if I didn't like Ozark, I wouldn't be here. I want to encourage, matter of fact, I ought to start making videos about the beauty of this area and target, like a playlist to show people that this is one of the best places. It's huge. The Ozarks is huge. It goes all the way to Harrison and even into Arkansas, and it's humongous. But Ozark, Missouri is 15 minutes south of Springfield, center of Springfield, and it's roughly 20 minutes north of Branson. And it is one of the most safest places to be. One of the reasons I'm here is because of the underground. And I can tell you this, if we were to be hit by an EMP pulse, they told me to wait when they took me to the underground. And these were some CIA guys that were a friend of a friend. And I happened to be where they selected me to go down and look. And I'm going to tell you something. It's like a super Walmart, and it has every transformer needed for this whole co-op. Yeah, they say they got Liberty and Liberty replaced National, but there is a underlying co-op. And that co-op has everything that Liberty doesn't have and everything that, yeah, you all these other companies have to, in a grid down situation, work together. So the co-op, what they showed me, it's boom trucks, 4 or 5 boom trucks with service trucks for each one. And then they had other utility vehicles. They had ambulances and fire trucks, not big fire trucks, but smaller fire trucks. And it was weather hardening. They had been buying it up for 10 or 15 years before that, and it's been every bit of 6 years. And I was told to keep it quiet for about 3 years before I started talking about it. But I'm just telling you, if we go into a grid down situation because they try to take out Kansas City and St. Louis with a mid-air nuclear device, it would take out Springfield all the way down to Harrison County, all the way down to Arkansas. Everything would go out. But there's enough in that gigantic underground area that is highly, highly restricted. Very, very few people, even in high places, don't even have privileges to see what I seen. But they knew I was a YouTuber, and they knew people that I knew from years ago, and they knew that I would only do it when it was really needed. We're in a in-between place right now. 888, we could have went in thermonuclear war. 2012, they could have spun us over like a top on a pool table. Literally switched North and South Pole and done it where it would actually switch within 12 hours. Do you know how much of the population would have been destroyed if they could have done that, pulled that off? Well, ever since then, the so-called deep state has been on a panic, and they haven't built their systems back since then.
We've had one whistleblower after another whistleblower come forth and give diabolical evidence that was ignored for years and years. And then we had 2020. The whole freaking world changed. And I knew the first time I walked into a store and seen that they already had 6-foot markers on the ground and everybody was wearing masks. I didn't wear a mask not one freaking time. I've been watching this come for 20 years. They have been trying to depopulate the world all the way back to when I woke up August the 17th, 2003. I didn't know who the bad guys were until 2008. And then I had an adjusting to go through to be able to verbalize and to contemplate how evil was. That's why I'm saying if you're in Ozark, Missouri, hopefully we won't need that equipment underground. But anytime something blows, they can go down there and get the motherboard for it. They got all of it for every substation. It don't matter who's controlling the substation. It's the co-op. The co-op is the power, not the liberty. And let me say this about liberty. McDonald's, right here on Jackson Street. They know me by name. They know I'm Buddy Huggins, the cookie man. I eat 3 chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, I do. I try not to eat like 3 times a day. I try to eat them 1 time a day. And what I'm saying is, it's like family. And one of the managers told me in confidence, in which if you tell a YouTuber something and you don't tell them to put a cap on it until a certain date in the future, he's going to tell it. Well, he told me he was walking around with a temperature gauge, a real scientific one. And he said that they heard me and Jim say it was cold in there. And it was cold. And he said, yeah, you're right. It was cold. It was somewhere around 50, 52 degrees or something like that. And he said that their light bill, on average, for the 2 stores, have jumped 5,000 each a month. 10,000 for 2 stores, and they're going to put a 3rd store in up there by Walmart. I got to start going up there to the Walmart area and show you that construction up there. I heard that they'd been moving a lot of dirt. So the same thing goes with making videos around here. It's going to go with. I very seldom have I gone on that side of town. It's just there's so much activity going on right in this area, counting Riverside Bridge, thinking like it is, and then Green Bridge. The concrete there was poured the same day that frozen weather was. I still don't know the skinny on all of that, but if I have to, I'll go to the county meeting and ask for a sunshine report or just talk to Lynn Morris is the commissioner, and he can tell me what he can tell me. And there's things that as a friend, he he's waiting to see what's really the problem. Everybody's waiting. But I can tell you this. I've been telling them about Riverside Bridge sinking, and it's a slow thing, but they spent $49,000 removing a speed bump from each end cap. The end cap, it just had a speed bump because there's no dang, can't think of the word now. But expansion joints. There's no proper expansion joints in Riverside Bridge. And I've been blowing the whistle on Riverside Bridge for a very long time. And now we got Green Bridge that's got raw material, huge steel beams that came unpainted. and they're going to be very, very expensive to paint. And there is absolutely no reason that couldn't have been coated steel. I built paper mills and power plants. Sometimes it was red iron with a coating that would prevent uh, rust and contamination in a paper mill. And then it would be galvanized with a coating of gray industrial paint over that. So we're dealing with people that are just believing that they can pick the low bid and be successful with everything that's been done. No, Jackson Street got my ass called the police on me 6 times because I was videotaping them doing improper shortcuts. I won't go off on all of that because the job overall looks really good. It's going to look really good until it doesn't look really good. And then you'll find out that they ain't got no rebar in nothing. Now, at the same time they were working on that street on Jackson Street with that contract, Saps and Sons, that's the ones that did the bridges. Go figure. And over here on Walmart, all the way up to the Jennings brothers, everything they did had rebar in it, even the curb and gutter. Rebar. How can you have one line of specifications for one contractor and not do it for the bigger street, Jackson Street? It makes absolutely no sense. They need a professional engineer that has got no tie to any subcontractor, no tie to any testing lab. They have got to treat it like a Corps engineer project. And if they don't know what I'm talking about when I say Corps of Engineers, we can go and I'll take them. We can go to Little Rock. I don't know many people in Little Rock, but I know a lot of people in Vicksburg. I know nobody in Memphis, but we could go to Memphis. Memphis would be a real good place. They would give them people an education. I'm talking about the mayor. I'm talking about the board of aldermen. I'm talking about the people that make the money decisions to pick a low bid. And you think that they going to do everything right and they ain't got it in writing that they're doing it right? And they're not testing and proving and disproving? No, no. The highway job, if you noticed, I haven't touched it not one time because it is under a total different beast. Their concrete has to be perfect. In other words, they have crossed the T's and dotted the I's. They don't bring a bad batch of concrete and get past anybody. They have independent people that test it. They make braking cylinders, testing cylinders out of the truck, out of the back end of the truck, every 3 trucks. And it's a lot of cylinders because they pour a lot of concrete. I ain't questioned their authority not one time. I ain't made video. I don't want to be in their way. You see, I give respect where respect is due. But I'm telling you, down Riverside Bridge is sinking. It's so slow. Every year, it'll go down a little more, a little more. See, in the wintertime, it's directed north and south. So in the wintertime, it pulls it. And then in the summertime, it drags it back to the south. And it goes back to the north when it's cold and goes back to the south. It's tearing itself apart. No expansion joints. They can say they've got those end cap beds but that's why they spent $49,000 digging down to that dumbass thing and then removing material and then put concrete back in it so they could flush finish it. And now it's cracking and sinking. The next time you have to do that, is it going to be 49,000 or is it going to be 149,000? I hope you see what I'm saying. This is the most beautifulest place to be for a lot of reasons. I don't want to make an enemy out of none of these people in high places. I want them to just see that there's technical mistakes being made and they can fix it. It can be fixed where you have all the confidence in the world that your contractor that you select to do these projects has got your best interest in mind. It has to be like Corps of Engineers. It has to be written in that they have to do it to spec. How hard is that? Elevation has to be dead on. Line and grade has to be dead on. Concrete hardening and testing has to be dead on. So I hope everybody don't get mad at me and think that I'm trying to start a problem. I'm trying to actually bring people here. There's enough area in this area. We could take another 1,000,000 people. Do you know what 1,000,000 people coming into the Christian County would do for the economy and all of the building projects that would be needed to accommodate it? And the county has to do everything that the city has to do when it comes to specking out these jobs. And if they all work together and get on the same page, I'm sure they can hire a sure enough, full-fledged civil engineer, mechanical engineer. These people has 3 degrees that work for Brown and Ruth and Army Corps engineers. The best people in the world work for the Army Corps engineers when it comes to engineering and towboat drivers and down to the crane operators. Best people. Brown and Ruth, the company that I work for, building paper mills and power plants and special projects. They hired the best and they were awarded jobs cost plus. And some of them were special jobs plus plus. And they'd get in and they could stay there for 3 months. Nobody would have ever said nothing. They got in and they did it. They'd set it up, the concrete plant. They'd set the testing up. They'd set the engineers, the field engineers, the office engineers, the blueprint printers. They had it all organized. And here they're letting people win these contracts that don't have our best interest at heart. So the people that are in control can change it by writing in specs. And if you don't know what it is that needs to be tested and done, you can educate yourself and you can figure it out. Not blaming nobody. I'm just saying, I'm not letting nothing go on my watch. I don't go out of my way. Like when there's McDonald's starts getting built over there by the Walmart, I won't go out of my way, but every so often I'll go over there and check what's going on. There's several big projects going over there. Audi's, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, several different things. And it's got to be right. I said this from the get-go. Has anybody checked to see how much of a mountain it is over there? A mountain of rock? We'll find out. That'd be my first trip over there. I'm going to find out where the rock is and how big it is. And if I don't know and I can't ask nobody and nobody tell me, then I know some people that can fly over it and do ground penetrating radar. And all I got to do is make a phone call and say, next time you're in this area, would you hit this spot? and we'll know where the rock is. You people of Ozark, Missouri, that's in control of all this kind of stuff, you need to know where the rock is, because that's going to come back to haunt the whole project. If it would have been said at the very beginning, you go in and you blast it. Y'all been blasting rock all over the place. You pick places that don't really need to be built on. But you go ahead and you think, well, the rock ain't going to be that big, and it ain't going to be that deep. And next thing you know, it's humongous. And all the money gets absorbed from tearing up equipment. Okay, I could talk about this crap for days and make other people feel bad and sad, but that's not my motive. My motive is to tell people that if you're stuck in California and you want to come to a beautiful place, come here. If you're from South Africa and you're looking for farmland, come here. Not just Ozark, but the counties around Ozark, out towards where the Amish, you would love the Amish people. You people from South Africa, start looking at Ozark, Missouri. Just come here, visit. You'll want to live here. But some of y'all are such big farmers. Y'all want to go to Kansas and where there's hundreds of thousands of acres. But I'm just telling you, that's my motivation, is to let everyone know how beautiful this place is and how good the people are. If you're honest with people and don't try to cheat, they're honest and good with you. So we all need good people in our life. We need to know who the chief of police is, and we need to know that he is a constitutionalist, and we need to know who the sheriff is, and we need to know is the sheriff a constitutionalist, and we need to have checks and balances with full disclosure about what they're doing. I'll chip off that block and start something in communicating wise, because I'm really at a miss why we can't have scanners where we can hear what they're doing. The other night, they must have been every cop car go down Jackson Street at 2:00. I heard 7 or 8 of them. I'm sitting here and I can't go to the computer and scan, hit the scanner thing and listen to, is it a wreck? Is it a fire? They got it where we can't hear it. I'm going to bring that up in a meeting. Not anytime soon, but it's future plan. And if I check into it and do it right, I want to make sure that the sheriff's department and then the fire department and everybody is following the statutes and laws of the land of Missouri to be able to say that they can restrict us from open scan conversations. That's not full disclosure. That's not transparency. That is being sneaky. I'll say this and I'll leave on this, because I want everybody to realize that it's hitting people. That means your police car is chasing somebody. You know who he is. You know his damn mama and his daddy. And you're going to chase him across county lines and just all over the damn Springfield and Ozark area. And then you're going to pit them. And you know where they live. You back off and let them go. Your life is at danger when you're in one of them pit maneuvers. You research it. Arkansas. How many pit maneuvers went bad last year? I'm not talking about 2025. I'm talking about 2024. 218. How many lawsuits? It was a bunch of them. How many people died? Officers, too. People. It's pathetic. There's better ways to track and do something that makes sense to keep the public safe and not try to chase these demons down. You know, when I say demons, I'm talking about Hellcats. I'm talking about cars that can go 160 miles an hour. And you've got to have a police car that can do that. Yeah. Well, y'all chasing country ass people that ain't got no damn, got 128 horses. But it's easy to put them. But it ain't safe. It ain't safe for you. It ain't safe for the city and the county for these lawsuits. Things have to change. You use technology. And I could tell you all kinds of ways to track them because there's a thing that we ought to know the man that did it and invented it, Overwatch. I'll drop that and leave that alone because yeah, I'm highly giving away some top secret stuff. But yeah, if you want to find out where people are, there's a bird right over our sky right now that knows every time I walk out my front door. If I was to go to a jewelry store to rob it, you think they're going to let me get away with it? San Francisco, just before 2020, 4 elite hits of jewelry stores systematically took place at the same time. And San Francisco has been in Overwatch for years as one of the first cities that had complete ability to back the video up. You hear what I'm saying? You don't have to chase people no more. You just program the video to show you where they come from. We got technology that y'all don't even know about. And they tracking your ass. They know you. Especially if you're a trooper. They know you. You think they know me? Yeah. I'm not afraid of any of them. I'm not afraid of death. They know that. You can only bust them out so far. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Never happened. I think he's still alive, and I ain't going to say how I know that, because that might come up. You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of people that have been murdered and killed, and they said it was suicide. This this tie deal has been going on for a long time. David Carradine and the comedian Robin Williams. Oh, there's another six other people. Yeah, they have satanic rituals, and some of this is going to come out in P Diddy's trial if it ain't already starting to come out. I don't focus on anything. I just let the spirit of what God is, the creator, the source, bring it to me when I need it to see it and know it, and then I blog about it. And so at buddyhuggins.com, you want to study and look at things that some of the stuff I talk about that back in the day, all the way back to 2008, they said was conspiracy theories. About 30 of them now are facts. They know for a fact that JFK Kennedy, President Kennedy, was shot from the front twice. That's the kind of world we live in. So when we're here in a beautiful area like this, and we're going to have people get upset because you ask for disclosure and transparency on simple things like construction projects, I don't want to step on people's toes. I want people to be at peace with their decisions of who they're using as subcontractors. I want them to use wisdom and absolutely for the people, do your due diligence to have the best contractors. Whether you got to start realizing some of these people that you've been thinking is good old boys ain't got your best interest at heart. All they talking about is the money. Enough said. All right. Thank y'all for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. How long have we gone? 1 hour. Okay, that's good enough. All right. Keep watching. Comment. Let me know what you think. I need comments. I need people to subscribe. And I need people to, when I say I'm going to a meeting, I'd like to see 10 people show up. That would make me happy, because the more people show up, that means more people are realizing that transparency is a good thing. And so nobody's been coming to meetings that are doing and asking good questions. But we can start a trend, especially when it's summer. But when it's wintertime, I don't care about. I'm gonna have to do that. What do you call it? Call it Zoom. I'll have to call in to the meetings and go Zoom. 'Cause, yeah, I don't like wintertime, but it's beautiful wintertime here. I could keep talking. I got to shut up. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day.